the three things that made me successful in Olympic Taekwondo in a crazy amount of time was...
Welcome to the Sansum Warrior Mindset. I'm Lee Sansum. This is Damon Sansum, my son. And we're going to be talking today about a really, really interesting subject. So, Damon, you went to a new sport, and after only 18 months in that sport, you went out and competed against and beat an Olympic champion, something I think that will never be repeated again. Tell us how you did it.
Yeah, I suppose when you hear some things you've done in your career, sometimes it doesn't sink in because you hold yourself to a high regard. But since retiring from sport, it allows you to sit and think about what you have achieved. And yeah, I started Olympic Taekwondo at 24 years old, which is probably the age of the current champions right now. Most of them, that's probably peaking age now in Taekwondo. It's a very young sport because of the demands on the body. And I started at 24 years old and I had many achievements in the sport. But yeah, you're right. After about, I think 18, 19 months, I beat the 2012 Olympic champion after a very short space of time training in a sport I'd never ever done before. So to take you back to the story, my story is I was a point fighter, kickboxer before, which is a martial art, but it's very different to Olympic Taekwondo. And that's what you trained me in from 12 years old. And I had a really bad shoulder injury and my shoulder used to subluxate, which means slips out and slips back in. It's really painful. And it happened, I'd say maybe 40 times, many times. So after that time, I took some time out and I had a scan from the NHS. They lost the results. And at that stage, I thought to myself, I need to have a break. I've done all the exercises, all the therabands, and my shoulder's just not working.
It's unstable, yeah.
Unstable constantly. So my dad came into my room when I was on a bit of a downer and I was thinking, my sport potentially is going to come to an end and I need an operation. And there was an advert for Olympic Taekwondo to cross over from different martial arts in 2010, which had never, ever been done before. So this is the start of my journey in Olympic Taekwondo. And before I continue my journey, I think the three things that made me successful in Olympic Taekwondo in a crazy amount of time was affirmations, visualization, and self-belief. And I'm going to get into that later on in the video and break down the secrets of working out and understanding the brain of how I did it. Because to beat an Olympic champion from a completely different sport, I'm not better at the Taekwondo kicks than them. How can I be in that short space of time? But my mindset allowed me to be very successful in my second sport that I chose in my life, which was a very, very tough ask. So for context of the story, I saw a magazine application in Martial Arts Illustrated, which Bob Sykes, our friend, used to run, and I think it's coming back. And it was Olympic Taekwondo saying anyone from kickboxing, MMA, Kung Fu, ITF Taekwondo, any combat style could apply to then join the Olympic Taekwondo team. So we applied and I looked at it and I thought, I'm not sure I want to do this. But you said to me, you get a wage and you get housing provided for you and you can actually train properly. So I applied and at the time I was started to train more seriously. But throughout my career of kickboxing and WAKO kickboxing, I was fortunate enough to be very clever with my IQ. I had an obsession for the sport, but I didn't train like an athlete. And I was winning WAKO World Cup titles, world team titles, and one of the best in my division in the sport, and that was part-time in it really. So that's why you said that, it's going to be good for you to go in and apply yourself because you knew my potential. So they opened it up to a trial day and I went down to Manchester, had to do a few shuttle runs. It was in a hall in the velodrome and we had to do some jump tests and then we had a test match. And I'd never heard test match before. So it was 3 2-minute rounds of Taekwondo sparring or fighting. And you had a panel of the judges there sitting there. Some of the Gary Hall, the performance director, Nelson Miller.
The coaches,
yeah. Nelson, one of the best mentors and coaches in the sport. So I went there and I stood there with this Taekwondo body armor on, which I'd never worn before, with no foot pads on and these little gloves. And I didn't know what to expect. So I fought a guy and it ended up going golden point and I won the fight. And I remember walking with this guy to the Manchester Piccadilly train station. He had a black eye from an axe kick. I had a dodgy hip from a roundhouse kick. So we were limping and he's holding his eye. We bonded. So from there, I then gathered that he was actually a Taekwondo player, a Taekwondo fighter. So I ended up beating him in Golden Point, which was a good start. So I was then asked to go to the boot camp. And the boot camp was probably one of the hardest weeks of training I've ever done in my life, even to date, because my body wasn't ready for what they were asking of me. So I went, me and Robbie Hughes, one of the best kickboxers of our time in points fighting, exceptional fighter. Went to his house, we chilled, we got some food in for the week, and then we both drove to Manchester because he did the trials with me. And on the trials, it was like best of the best. There was me, Robbie Hughes, there was Andrew Deere, Warren Weiss, both TAGB legends. I think Richard Bell, Mr. ITF, he was called. So ITF world champion. Davin Pak, traditional karate world champion, and some MMA champions. There was so many people on that boot camp. Latalo Muhammad was there, Ruben Richards. It was stacked. So the boot camp, this was the final phase to see if we're going to get into the team. So we went there and we walked into this cold gym in Manchester, which was beside Asda in Sports City, which didn't have a toilet. So every time you wanted to go to the toilet, you had to have your body armor on, sweating, and then run through Asda to go to the toilet. So fond memories of that gym. And it used to be freezing as well. So we all turned in and we thought we were going to have an introduction, a chat, but it was led by Paul Green, one of the best Taekwondo coaches in the world right now with USA Taekwondo, and also a great fighter, an exceptional athlete. And obviously knowing Paul now, of course, we were going to be fighting as soon as he arrived. That's how he is. So as we walked into the gym, thinking it was going to be a nice chilled start, we looked up on this whiteboard and it was initials, DS versus LT, DS versus D, all these initials. And we're looking and he said, right, guys, get warmed up and you're having test matches. So in the matches, I think I fought Latalo Muhammad, I fought Richard Bell, I fought Davin Pak, and through my IQ, I beat everybody that I fought. This was on day one, and I watched a little bit of Taekwondo before going and just worked out the crescent kick and the clinch, which we don't really do. So practicing that a little bit, and it worked out really well. But it was such a good, tense atmosphere. Davin Pak actually nearly knocked me out with a spinning hook kick, but took it well and then won the fight, but it was a really good shot. But this boot camp there was blood, there's people. Ironically, the MMA guy warmed up with us all. We did a bit of training and then he just looked at the coach and went, no, this is not for me. Just not with the level of kicking that was going on. So great boot camp. Hamstrings were killing. It was brutal. And it was my first insight into full-time training. So then fast forward a few months and I was accepted into the team and moved to Manchester. So at 24 years old, I'm now in the Olympic Taekwondo team. So again, it took me a few months to start to pick it up. And then I remember after 5-6 months of training, we had test matches in December, and I was flying home to Scotland from Manchester, and I had a test match with Aaron Cook, great fighter, great friend, and Muhammad Cho, again, exceptional fighter and a great friend too. And I ended up beating them both in a test match. So now the news is circulating around the Taekwondo world.
The new boys, pretty good.
Damon's just beat Aaron and Cho. And at the time, it was because I had really good cover. But at the time, it was a lot about my mindset, which I'm going to go into now. It was the way I approached my mindset, the work we've done from a very young age on developing your mindset. And I understood from watching car journeys of Tony Robbins for 8 hours, going to Manchester, numerous times in the car. I'm thinking, oh God, Dad, not this again. Come on, Kate, not this again. But subconsciously, I'm downloading the information. And again, a great friend of mine, Latalo Muhammad, his journey was the same. Every journey, Tony Robbins. And he's, again, exceptional in sport. So after 18 months, I started to win big competitions and won the German Open, beat the Olympic champion, started to beat real high-level fighters. And Taekwondo was thinking, who the hell is this random kickboxer that's beaten us all? That's not possible. And when I first went to Olympic Taekwondo, when I first joined, I had people saying they're wasting their money. Why are they getting this guy to come in? There's no way a kickboxer is going to do well in Taekwondo. I called up a gym one time asking them to train, and they said, just to let you know, you can't train here and you'll never be able to train here. And the whole talent trial process is a joke. So I've heard this. So I had a lot of animosity when I first started. However, that fires me. Like if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I'm stubborn, but mindset. So I excelled really quickly in Olympic Taekwondo and was shocking the Taekwondo kind of world, because you imagine someone coming from rugby to football, and in a year and a half's time of training, they're beating Man United. They're scoring against the best goalkeepers in the world.
They're on the national team.
Yeah, they're on the national team, on the first team. So it's a very big achievement. So the 3 ways that I did this And this is the 3 secrets for anyone doing anything in sport, business, life. And this is a hack. And the 3 secrets is self-belief, affirmations, and visualization. I'll start with visualization, which I've naturally done from a young age, and the work that we've done together of mindset. Again, we talk about it. So I've naturally done it from a very young age in visualization. So this is a massive secret to success in any sport. And I used to visualize before going to sleep. I like to visualize. It's annoying because your leg will be twitching because you're thinking about fighting, and sometimes you can't sleep at night. Some people like to do it in the morning, but I like to do it in the evening. And how this secret works, visualization, to be successful, is to visualize and see in your brain exactly what you want to do. So when I started Taekwondo, I was visualizing beating these people. I had them on a list. And I hear people saying, what's your goal in martial arts? What's your goal in Olympic Taekwondo? And a fighter will say, maybe to win a competition or maybe to win a fight. That's not good enough. I had a goal from the start. I'm going to beat this person in the gym. I'm going to beat this person in the gym. I'm then going to win an open, then going to win the World Championships, and then going to qualify for the Olympics. So I had it all planned out. And I used to go to bed at night time and visualize beating these people, smelling what the arena would look like, seeing what the crowd would look like when I land this spinning kick and everyone goes crazy, and just visualizing every single night of me performing well, landing these head kicks, kicking someone in the face and there's blood coming, all this kind of stuff I'd visualize constantly, visualizing being the fastest in the division, visualizing being the fittest. And the visualization is a very key point because, as Gladway says, you have to have 10,000 hours to master a skill. But your brain doesn't know any different between reality and pretend. So if you're visualizing, mastering these skills and mastering this success, you're shortcutting them 10,000 hours because you're already played it in your mind. The neurons are still firing the same. And if you sit now or you're in bed and you think about throwing a roundhouse kick or a punch, you'll feel your leg going and you'll feel your arm going.
I'm doing it now.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is, when you think about saying throw an uppercut, then what will twitch is your leg. That then tells you the powers come from the leg and the ground. So there's ways, obviously, for visualization to understand what actually fires for the technique. So visualization and to see it, the biggest point for visualization to work is to see it from first perspective. So I'm not seeing it from a bird's eye view because that doesn't work. It's not real. I'm seeing it throughout my own eyes. And I'm standing in the stadium and I'm looking at my opponent. I'm looking at their face as they're shattered and they're tired and I've won the fight. I'm looking at the crowd when my hand gets raised by the referee. I'm visualizing how I'm going to celebrate when I win that first open. I'm going to visualize how I'm going to celebrate when I win the World Championships, win my first world medal. And visualization was a very big thing that's allowed me to get my success. The second one is affirmations. And affirmations are a very big secret. I was teaching a seminar down in Fleetwood the other week, and I spent most of the time doing affirmations because in a martial arts seminar, you have 2 hours or 3 hours with them. Can I change their world through punches and kicks? Probably not. I can help, but it's a short space of time. But can I develop their mindset? So we're massive on mindset on this channel, hence the reason it's called Sansum Warrior Mindset, because whatever your mind thinks, your body will follow. So the affirmations are a secret to success hugely, and so many people use affirmations and visualizations. Michael Phelps, LeBron James, Ronaldo, all these top sports people in their industry, they know these techniques, they're secrets. So affirmations is where you write a list of things that you are. I am the fittest in my welterweight Taekwondo division. I am the world champion 2017. I am the best head kicker in Taekwondo, the most professional athlete in the gym. I am the hardest worker in my sport. And when you create these statements, your brain then starts to reaffirm them and starts to take out all the negative thoughts and challenge the negative thoughts. And the more you read them in the morning or at night or a few times a day, as we know how powerful affirmations are, and for business too, this is a secret because you're already telling yourself. So if I go into the affirmation list, and my affirmation, which it was at the time, was I'm the fittest in my division. And that's what gave me a lot of success earlier on. Fittest and the most aggressive. That was my affirmations at the time. So I pushed the pace, regardless of skill level. If they're better at Taekwondo than me, I'd just drag them into deep waters, 3-round fight, and then I'd prevail at the end. So that was my affirmation. So a quick one, how it works is, if I write I'm the fittest in my division, then when training gets tough and I want to quit, am I going to quit that day of training? No, because I've read in the morning that I am the fittest. So it's constantly reminding your subconscious mind of what you want to be. I'm the most aggressive. Maybe I'm in a career training camp and this person's getting the better of me and he's 6'7", and there's a stage where you think, oh, I'm a bit hesitant to push the pace or go. I've got no choice because I've already told myself that morning, I am this identity. So affirmations are massive for success and massive for my success in Taekwondo after starting at 24 years old, and which is really, really late. And finally, the biggest one that I've been given from a young age from my dad that's installed me all the time, even in things I'm maybe not so good at, like ollieing on a skateboard. He still said I was the best at it, which I really wasn't. Self-belief. It's self-belief. It's 100% self-belief, because if you believe it sounds basic, but so many people don't believe in themselves. So many people don't love themselves, and so many people don't speak it into existence. So they don't want to tell you their goals or say to themselves their goals in case they fail. So if you go in there with this self-belief of I am the best and I believe I'm the best, that self-belief is the foundation for everything else that comes on top. Everything. So when things don't go well in the gym, or you have a competition that you lose, it's okay because I'm the best. I'm going to be the best. So when I started Taekwondo at 24, I knew I was going to be the best in my division. I knew I was going to win the World Championships and Olympic Championships. Ended up getting a silver medal in the World Championships. I won every Open that was going in Taekwondo. The Major Open, the Olympics I wasn't selected for, which was a little bit unfortunate. So if it wasn't for my teammate that did really, really well, I'd have also competed in the Olympics. I was there as a reserve, which was tough, but that was the only one that was out of my control, my goal. So if you believe in your ability and believe in your affirmations and your visualization, then the goal will then get closer and closer and closer. And as soon as you stop believing in yourself and doubting yourself, it doesn't work. So all of this is wrapped through self-confidence. And again, with the self-confidence that you've used in what you do and what I do, I'd be interested to know your opinion on how to deliver the self-confidence. How would you install it in an athlete that hasn't got that confidence currently?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Damon, they're fantastic points, and for any athlete or coach out there listening to this, just drop a comment for us and let us know what you think about it. This is gold dust. This is for anybody in sport. And with our team, we had one of the most successful teams in WAKO kickboxing in the world at one stage, from a tiny little town in the Highlands. And everyone said, how are you teaching this? It was 90% mindset.
Yep.
90% mindset. And I think that's enough just to get people to change their mind and change the way they train and be the best that you can be. So thank you, Damon. Thanks for sharing that. That's great stuff. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please hit the subscribe button and send us a comment. We like to know what people are thinking. I know sometimes, you're busy and all the rest of it, but if you've got time, give us some feedback, and we'll see you all soon on the next podcast.